What is up, guys, and welcome to the VisualWood podcast, episode number 18.
18? We are legal. Let's do it.
Yeah, and that's how we start off this podcast, because last podcast had nothing to do with very mature themes. So thank you for that.
Well, what else would I be bringing to the table? Let's be honest here.
You're British. It doesn't matter. You could be talking.
Wow.
You could be in the background saying poop every 10 seconds, and it would still, people still watch. I'm telling you.
Poop.
It's because you're. Yeah. Oh, you're gonna do it now?
No, let's not.
Okay, so we have something different. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay, no, I was gonna ask you. Do you want to explain what we're doing for the next two podcasts?
Well, see, I'm way ahead of you, man. We're like two peas in a pot. I've never understood that saying. But
same wavelength. Yeah, don't you get like loads of peas in a pod?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe there's many. Maybe there's other peas out there that haven't yet joined VisualWood.
So who are our other peas? I'm looking at you, dear viewer.
Just, who? Me?
Introducing, and then we do like a lottery style thing to bring someone on. It'd be amazing.
Oh, don't say that. Don't say it. Not to all you regular viewers out there, but I'm pretty sure there's that one viewer out there like, oh man, I would love to come onto your show. Get some VisualWood going on.
Anyone that's ever approached you about coming on the show now is going to feel really vindicated. Oh my god, I sent him that PM a few days ago. Maybe he's talking about me. Maybe he somehow found, my Facebook or something and he didn't like it.
Is that what's been happening to you with other bigger YouTubers? You've been trying to contact them?
No. It's the other way around. Like, they're all contacting me, obviously, and then I'm looking on their Facebooks.
Yeah, Total Biscuit's contacting you, and he makes sure he changes his profile pic.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm going to do it with my hack, so I don't want him to know that I'm bald. So let me just cover this up. I don't know why Total Biscuit is the first thing that pops in my mind every single time, but it is.
What, with the bald thing?
No, just a YouTuber. When I think YouTuber, I think like Polaris people, I think, all the time. And
it's kind of weird, especially for you, because you're so keyed in with the YouTube landscape and people that are on YouTube and different cliques and communities and gamers and stuff on there. Like, I'm pretty bad with it, but you know so many people, and yet you still sort of default to Polaris.
Yeah,
it's because we at Polaris are god tier.
What? Say that again?
Never mind.
Anyways, what are we going to be doing today after that sidetrack? Is basically we asked you guys, the viewers, for topics and questions. I guess it's going to be like basically a giant Q&A, and we don't have to kind of hold back on the questions. We don't have to, press for time. We can just talk about the questions. We won't, spend too long on the questions if we're just repeating ourselves. But, we'll try to keep it as, I guess, tight as possible. Keep that visual tight, son. Tight.
Amazing. It sounds like it's going to be really high quality.
Yes.
For people that don't know, this is because there's no pre-patch preview this week, because ArenaNet are on break to really refine the final 4 Living Store updates for this season of the Living World. So they're sort of on break, and therefore we don't really have that other section where we can talk about what's coming up with the game or what's currently been going on. So yeah. Do you want to talk though about, before we go into the topics, do you want to talk about what you've been doing in game?
In game. Oh, okay. So basically, don't get mad, Guardians or Warriors or whatever, but I don't know. I've been playing my Guardian for a very long time, and I feel like I'm just logging in. When I finally get to gameplay and stuff, I follow a rhythm, and I'm always a support because I just feel like the Guardian's more useful being support, and why change, all the gear that I have spent all my money on just to go to DPS Guardian when I should just go to another class, right? Because the other class will actually give me the results I'm looking for if I'm going for DPS. Not to say DPS Guard is bad, because it's not. It's not bad, but I'm just saying.
Oh, it's terrible, dude. It's the worst thing in the world.
All right, hey, before you offend people, but I've been feeling even though I would switch builds, it's still I just feel like I'm just kind of spamming abilities, and maybe I'm just playing wrong, but I just feel like there's nothing new. You know, I switch weapons, you know, do all that type of stuff, but I just want generally something more complicated, I guess you can say. So I've been looking towards Thief and NG, and Win Potatoes was showing me a lot of the NG and how like all these toolkits and stuff you can do. A lot of cool, complicated little combos you can do, which is great, and that's what I want, because I want to get out of this funk of, you know, easy gameplay and go into something a little bit more complicated and actually start doing plays and, you know, like doing some really cool stuff. Like, if I combine this toolkit with this toolkit or this build with this build, you know, I can do this. And I've seen all sorts of like Thief gameplay as well. Thieves are pretty cool as well. I want to try that.
Yeah,
but I've been leveling my NG. So
yeah, I think you're gonna. Have you noticed? Like for me, I spend so long on my Elementalist. When I play another character and I play it with a real view to sort of treat it like a main, you know, and really go the whole hog with it, it's not even like the skills are almost irrelevant on some level to me at some point, because like it's just super fun running around in medium armor instead of light. Do you know what I mean? Like, and a different sized character and a different voice that's playing for you, and and a completely different personal story happening. Like your whole perspective of the game world, even beyond your skills and traits and changes, like it's just somehow so much more fun. Do you find that?
Yes. Because I'm like leveling my character. I'm like, wow, this is refreshing. You know,
Yeah,
I've kind of like fell into this mode of like, you know, I have my legendary greatsword, time to do the greatsword skills. You know, this is awesome. Like after a while, it's just like, I kind of want to play another character and test it out, and everything's like brand new, and you're going through all these low level areas like you did when you first started. And I've been leveling characters, you know, every once in a while. Just to have that experience, you know, like I was leveling my Thief. I still haven't got my Thief up to 80, it's like around 50 something, but like it just feels cool just to have, you know, like for instance, the Thief has 25% swiftness, and instead of a Norn, I'm a little human woman, you know, and I can just like run around extremely fast, like because I'm like just some short human woman. Like it's great, like it's awesome.
Yeah, I think there's like leveling alts can feel like a pain. I've had both experiences where I've just sort of had a lot of fun and it's been very refreshing. But I've also had experiences leveling alts where I'm just kind of like, I just want to get this out of the way. And I think it just totally comes down to the reason why you've swapped to that alt. Like sometimes, like when I leveled my Necro, it was just because I wanted to offer some different utility or try something else in a dungeon, right? So I only wanted it to be that, like, for example, if you used to do a lot of COF farming, a lot of people rolled warriors because warriors were not necessarily the best for clearing it at quick times, but they were the most brain dead way and the most commonly accepted way for teams. Like they would always be looking for warriors, so everybody just sort of flocked to it. And if you were one of those people that used to, you know, you mained guard or something, and then you were like, I've got to roll a warrior if I want to earn money, like leveling up and playing a new character can be a pain, because you're not doing it to level up and experience a new character and dive into a new class. You're doing it because you want money for something else, and now everything feels like a barrier. But if you do it like how you're now playing NG, how I played NG,
yeah,
like, I think it's super fun. It's a totally different perspective on the way that the game can be played, and it lets you enjoy a lot of stuff I haven't done since, you know, launch. You find yourself doing again when you play a new character. Like people say Guild Wars 2 is super, you know, not friendly to ult, and I think in many regards to having ults, but I think in many regards that's true. But in some regards as well, like it can be the new pick me up you need if you have got burnt out with the game. Like people make their legendary, they enjoy it for a little while, and then that sort of stops them making a new character because they're like, I've got my legendary on this character. But if you just sort of push that aside and think, right, that character's kind of complete, going with a new character and not being bitter about losing out on all the, you know, the money investment you've put on the other character, if you can afford to not be bitter about it, you can have a huge new sort of perspective on the game, and that's what I've done.
Yeah, and that's what I've done pretty much. I did my Thief because I basically was in World v World. I think I've mentioned this before, and this Thief could not die. It's just there's no way to kill him unless you can burst him down and immobilize him, because he just basically he sits there, stealths, attacks you, backstabs you, trying to get you down, and kills you, and then just runs away. And when he runs away, I mean, he's across the world. There's no way you can catch up to him, except like, you know, using like being a thief. basically. The only way you could catch up to him. And then he just stealths again by the time you get there. And when he stealths, he comes to attack you. And then he just keeps rinse and repeating. He just keeps picking off people over and over and over again. He will be able to kill a lot of squishy people, but for some reason he couldn't kill me because I'm a guardian. And
yeah, I think
basically, yeah, the only way he'll be able to do that is unless he actually focuses me, and he can't because there's more people around. But he definitely picked off everyone. I mean, just killed them, and he was good at it. And I was like, I want that. Like, I can't do that with my guardian. I can't do that with any other, like, those regular characters, the generic warrior type of characters. It's like, I want something a little bit more. Like, you're gonna get that out of Thief and I guess a little bit of Mesmer. It has different types of Engie. You're gonna get stuff like that when it has like stealth, and you can use different mechanics and use your illusions as a Mesmer to kind of trick people. But that's if you don't understand which person is the right person, right Mesmer to attack. But yeah, like, it totally changes gameplay. And if you're feeling stale, I would say try another class. But if you don't like any of the class, you don't like the combat, then yeah.
What level is your Engie now?
It's only like 21, 22.
Okay, cool. And you got a 50 Thief that you want to put up as well.
Yeah, so I'm gonna have to level up those two. The problem is doing it by yourself. It's not as fun as it used to be. I guess you could say. I don't know. Like, a lot of people disagree with me with that, but for some reason I just don't like doing it by myself. I do it. I'll still do it, but I would listen to an audiobook.
Do you know what you could do?
Yeah.
You could listen to a podcast, maybe a Guild Wars 2 podcast, maybe one with 18 episodes, maybe that has over probably like a day's worth of audio.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe that new one, what was it called again? VisualWood. Yeah.
That one's terrible. I was thinking of Wood Visual.
Wood
Visual. That features me and another one of my friends called Dan Visual. Who's he's pretty new on the Guild Wars 2 scene, but he's pretty good,
Really?
Yeah, he does like really highly edited stuff, and he does it like way better than anyone else on the scene does at the moment. Like, so it's just allowing him to get the views very quickly.
Oh, okay. Oh, so the stand sounds kind of like douchey a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, he's going the highly edited route. So.
Okay, so what is the first topic?
Yeah, so this is a glorified Q&A. Let's just throw it out there. Like, I think we both sort of agreed there's no topic we could talk a whole podcast on, and be entertaining on, right? Like, there's maybe some huge ones, but we both want to go and research it and, know our stuff. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, definitely.
Like, there's we had a few comments about the CDI, which is like, the developer initiative that's going on with the forums at the moment, and they're talking a lot about character progression, horizontal progression, vertical progression, how characters can feel like players of Guild Wars 2 can feel like they're still, progressing and getting stronger or getting more things, but without actually introducing gear creep and stuff like that.
Right.
And that was a big topic. We had some questions, but like, there's so much discussion already on the forums. I am intimidated by like touching it without really diving into it myself, and I think we both sort of agree. So anyway, yeah, lots of different topics. The first one was asked by Doug Haranchar. Are you ready for this?
I am ready.
Are you ready for this jelly?
I am ready for that jelly. I'm ready to put it on my toast.
I don't think you're ready for this jelly.
I'm ready to put it on my toast right now.
It'd be fair to call Guild Wars 2 a fantasy genre title, but ArenaNet is by no means locked into that category. What with the futuristic Asura and the steampunk Aetherblade pirates. The Canthan concept art ? Image that was released months ago shows a potential further departure from the traditional fantasy themes, leaning more towards a dystopian Blade Runner themed city to explore. What sorts of styles would you like to see in future updates? The Crystal Desert updates could be themed as a new Wild West, as the races push into the desolation left by Morgemoth on steam trains, complete with ghost towns and gold mines. What about more science fiction oriented content, or even maritime / sea adventure / swashbuckling? So what do you think about this idea? First, I think I think you know everything about this Cantha, so-called Cantha concept art. Do you want to tell people the story of that?
All right,
if you remember it?
Basically they had like an art contest. I think it's called Pixel Art Contest, something pixel in it, right? And they had this art contest, and Guild Wars 2's an artist from Guild Wars 2 submitted one, and I guess it looked like Cantha, but a little futuristic. And it said ArenaNet, and it says not announced yet. I guess it was said on the paper.
Unannounced project, yes.
Unannounced project. So it's either a different game entirely, or it was just some like a placeholder name that they say for everyone there, or it could be an expansion, right? And that would be the project that they're talking about. It looked like basically how the Cantha buildings look like. It basically looked like Tokyo, basically, with really tall buildings and very futuristic. So I mean, Azuran technology, is up there. You can totally see them working on something like that. But like, I don't know if that would be in Guild Wars 2. It'd be kind of. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing, right? It looks like a cool style, and I am immensely curious about introducing something like that to Guild Wars 2. It really is up there on the technology level, guys. It's sci-fi. It's Guild Wars 2's become WildStar almost kind of thing, like. Not the same at all, but it is sci-fi hard, and it doesn't fit any of the themes of the existing stuff. However, there are two very important things that sort of discredit this having anything to do with Guild Wars 2. First of all, the concept artists, they actually do a lot of art that never means anything for the eventual game.
Right.
They're concept pieces that won't necessarily have any bearing on the game whatsoever.
You can look on their profiles, and they have tons of art for different types of stuff. Yeah,
exactly. Like, they're there to inspire the writers and the content designers and to shape the development, but a lot of it will and can be discarded. The other thing was, it was later announced, and it's a crime that this news wasn't as big as the original news of the actual image. That the guy, was it Daniel Dochu, I think, that did it. But basically, it has nothing to do with Guild Wars 2. It sounded something like he was just like contracted out to do this work for someone else. Like on maybe a completely different game or whatever. Some of their artists are like really well-renowned artists that will just produce pieces for other stuff. So really, it doesn't look like this has anything to do with Guild Wars 2, unless that was some kind of story to cover it up or something, and you're some kind of crazy conspiracy nut. But honestly, I don't think we were looking at Kaineng with that image, and we probably won't see it. But it's a great point that people are excited by something that is so bizarre and so different from existing Guild Wars 2 themes and architectural styles. And there are a lot of those areas I would like to see the franchise go in. I think that could be a big kick, a big, fresh boost to the title, something that could make people look at it a second time, something that makes people say, if people saw an image of the Grove burnt to a crisp like a year down the line, then they might think, oh wow, something's changed with Guild Wars 2, that's kind of cool. But there would be a greater feeling of that if they saw a screenshot of where people were playing in Guild Wars 2 and it looks, like a Blade Runner style area, right? And then they're like, wow, that's Guild Wars 2? What? How the hell has this happened? This doesn't look anything like,
And that's what happened with Super Adventure Box.
Yes.
That's really perfect example. Point. Yeah, because that's what happened. People saw it, was like, hold up, is this Guild Wars 2? And people really, they logged in and they played it, and that was one of those things. And it got people interested in actually playing the game, and the hunger for new areas is there. And I would like to see, like this guy was saying, like they're basically making these new areas totally different from any other of the maps. So I guess I'm gonna call it expansion maps, not to say that it's gonna be an expansion or a living story, but expansion maps. So these new areas that they're gonna have, they should be totally different from the regular areas, meaning like a different way how to do dynamic events. Maybe there's a certain portion that you have to play like some type of mini game or stay like there's like a big hole, right? Like what if there's like a big desert hole and you have to pretty much fly on these hoverboards or airships or a steam train and fight along the way to get to the actual city or something like that. And then eventually you can just have a waypoint at the end of it. I don't know. There's a bunch of different mechanics you can go with it. Probably won't work like that, but a bunch of different mechanics that you can, introduce a new area and make it different than everything else. Don't just make it another area, because it falls in a different place. Don't you think? If they expand upon an area, are they going to make it level 80? Or are they going to make some low-level areas as well? You know, I would assume that they will probably create a starting area for, like, for instance, the Tengu or something like that. So that would be the starting area and a town. And then, you know, you can go to other areas that you've already played before. And then, of course, you'll have, like, another area that's level 80 that you can go to that's something totally different that may add some more armor sets or some more weapon sets or a new currency or just a whole new place to be. I don't know. There's so many ways. So many things they can add into the game. A place where you can train your skills or do Guardian and Ellie quests to, you know, better your skills and stuff like that. Anything they can do, and they could put this in this new area to make that area more significant instead of just putting it out there and it just being hearts and dynamic events. No one wants that. I don't think so. I mean, yes, I would love to explore a new world, because I just think exploring a world in Guild Wars 2 looks amazing. Like, that's why I always show, like, the background in Guild Wars 2, because it's just really cool to look at, you know?
Yeah, I think on the level topic as well, like, my gut would be to think, oh, any new areas they add are going to be level 80 areas, surely. But because the scaling, adding lower level areas could be a possibility, and then that could help, you know, keep the player base diluted somehow, so that you don't just have, like, oh, okay, here's all the pre-level 80 content, and here's the level 80 content. Like, that was always a big thing with Guild Wars 2. They didn't want there to be this huge distinction between what you can do at max level and what you can do at minimum level, in terms of the way that the game plays, I suppose. And as time's gone on, as fractals have come in, as you know, you look at Wild vs. Wild, as just the community in general has got stronger. There are a lot of completely unviable elements of Guild Wars 2 now until you're level 80, and it sort of ties into what we were saying earlier about, you know, how it. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, well, they can add in, like, certain spots. You know how, like, there's not many places to level up between, like, I don't know, like 25 and 40-ish or 25 and 45-ish. You know, you can kind of sink that in there, like do another, I guess, 30 to 40 or another 35 to 45 and sneak that in there. They don't have to necessarily go through 1 through 80 and have, like, 4-7 new maps, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And, like, if you think about Brisbane, you know, there's clear portals and signs that they might want to add new maps and stuff off of Brisbane at some point. But Brisbane is not a high-level zone, so maybe they'd want to have low-level zones. But maybe that argument's even invalid, because if you look at Wayfarer Foothills, this is the earliest level zone you can have, and that ties straight onto Frostgorge, which is a level 80 zone. So maybe they don't care about that kind of thing. Maybe that discrepancy doesn't matter to them.
Yeah.
But I think we've moved a little bit off of the question and the topic really at hand, which is the idea of different themes for areas, different
oh wow,
art styles, like, so for example, Wild West type stuff.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, there's scope within the story absolutely to do some things, like the Crystal Desert. I've mentioned this before. The Crystal Desert, if you looked at the ruins that were there in the first game, these were skyscrapers. It was like New York had been destroyed and turned into a desert, and we were looking at it 1,000 years down the line, and the remains of the skyscrapers leaning to the side, all their windows blown out. That is what it looked like. It looked like one of the civilizations that had been in the Crystal Desert was just like that. So to return there, you could have a very distinct art style and theme to that place. You could have something that's not so typically fantasy, and that it's like you say with the Super Adventure Box. It doesn't even, like, the confines aren't as strict as you might expect. Super Adventure Box was completely different art style and aesthetic to anything else we've seen in Guild Wars 2, and yet they put it in there and it made sense. Because, and that didn't even have anything to do with Mist necessarily. That was, okay, this is a game within a game. Like, it's really not that hard to write in reasons why we would have stuff so drastically outside of the fantasy genre. But you have to look at ArenaNet's motivations, because would they want to, like, they said, right, we're making Guild Wars 2. What kind of game is Guild Wars 2? We love the idea of a fantasy-based MMO. That's what they said to themselves, and why would that opinion have changed? So we might have one-off things like Super Adventure Box that come and changes the formula quite heavily, but In terms of, continuous and consistent new updates that go into the game that would exist outside of a typical fantasy realm, I don't see that happening, because then it becomes a question of, well, why did they make it a fantasy game in the first place? And I do agree that maybe the studio as a whole could have, developed and decided, actually, we want to try a different twist, and, we are going to push away from our original roots, and we are going to try different stuff, and we're going to sate our curiosity for these other type things. Like, do you know Undead Labs?
No, what's that?
Undead Labs is where a group of people from ArenaNet who left ArenaNet just before launch to make their own game. They made
the Survivor, the Survivor.
Yeah,
one that
what's
played?
it called? Did we play it? We didn't play it. We were gonna play it. Maybe
we're gonna play it, but we didn't play it because it was in co-op.
Behind the scenes.
Yeah, it was a zombie Survivor thing.
I feel terrible for missing this. What is it? Come on! It was on Xbox Live Arcade. It released recently. Undead something. They're Undead Labs, so I'm googling right now.
Yeah, just Google Undead Labs.
But and you could have followed these guys. State of Decay.
There we go.
State of Decay. That was the game they made. And this is, these were people that were working on Guild Wars 2, a fantasy-based MMO, and they decided themselves, fantasy? I don't know. I mean, and they were in sort of, I don't know whether I should really comment on the idea of going to a zombie game when there's so many zombie games out there at the moment. But, it was a completely different style of game that just enthused them, and it wasn't going to fit in Guild Wars 2. Like, what does this question say? Do you think that we could have, one day we go back to Cantha, and it's not this weird concept art we saw, but instead, 50 years ago, when Canthan contact was cut off, or whenever that happened, there was actually a zombie outbreak. The rest of the afflicted, there were some afflicted hiding somewhere in the sewers of Kaineng. They evolved, adapted over time, and this time they took over the whole place. And we have an expansion or a living story set of updates to Guild Wars 2 that is basically zombies. We are playing State of Decay, but it's Guild Wars 2, and it's just a total zombie survival style game. Like,
wow.
These are possibilities. They're not hard to write in. And it's like I say, I don't expect it to happen, because you have to assume they're very passionate about the fantasy genre to have made the game in the first place.
Right, exactly. But I mean, with the Zurin technology, there's so many ways to manipulate that, though. That's the thing.
Right, yeah. Like, and I don't know how much I agree with that kind of writing either. It's just, we'll just invent some small thing so we can do this totally bizarre thing. I think a lot of the times the story should be the thing that defines the content they put in, and whatever's happening is because logistically the story and the direction it's been going in would just lead to that. It's like how they say good writers create a set of characters and then they let the characters do their own thing, and the book writes itself because they have strong characters, or the TV show ends up writing itself because all the writers have to do is think logically, okay, this character's done this in the past, this is this character's motivation, blah blah blah, so this is what happens, rather than people who sit down and say, I want this story where halfway through these people have a fight, right? If you go like that and you just make excuses for characters to do things, it tends to be a worse story. And I think that's exactly the same for when you're developing updates for an MMO. And I know it's such a weird contrast to make, but it is. I think that the smartest thing for them to do would just be have the story define what goes forward, rather than being like, I want to do a zombie thing. Okay, so we'll just add this with the afflicted. Like, you can't do that too much.
What do you think about, like, I assume that they might have done a couple weird things with the Thaumanova reactor. Maybe it was just me, because I was just like thinking really outside of the box, that, when you go through this alternate reality and this like portals and stuff like that, I just thought of it something so separate, like something totally different than the regular fractals, that maybe we might have slipped in, like not for the main thing, but slipped into like some other place that's something totally different, like a sneak peek of something that could be happening, or could be like a next expansion or something like that. Like,
what do you mean? Redefine that.
I guess like maybe at the end of it, when you defeat the boss, like there is some secret, right, to like another portal that sucks you into a different fractal.
Are you saying this is what you wanted from that update?
No. I thought the story was actually pretty good. Well, the mechanics, the content itself was really good. I enjoyed it a lot. But I thought that they were gonna add more story towards it, right? But they didn't really add much story there at all. And I've constantly said this. There's just not much writing there. There's not much voiceover there. It's like a couple sentences. You can put everything they say on one page, and I think that's pretty bad.
Given that update was okay as well. Like, yeah, the quantity was far too low. It's always been a problem with quantity, but they did okay actually there because, in my opinion, they set up some pretty interesting like stories for the future. Like, is the lab that you go in itself just a fractal? Is Dessa dead?
I like that. I really do. Like, that is one of the best things I've heard. In a while, like that right there, that piece of story, I'm like, more interested in that than anything at the moment in a living story. Like, it's just, I really want to find out what's happening with that, and I guess that's how you're supposed to feel about the story, right? I'm guessing, because I haven't felt like that.
And here's
I haven't
the other
really
thing.
felt like that. Yeah,
you've talked to me before about how you like to think that everything was written all at once.
Yes.
And episode 1 has, maybe some nuggets or clear things so that once you finish the whole series, you go back and you're like, oh, yeah, look, I can see where they were going. Look at this foreshadowing that's coming in. You love that kind of stuff, right?
Yes. Like the TV shows where you see, okay, little hints of stuff that was going to happen. Like, don't you know how they tied in Scarlett's all like, oh, she did all this. But really, were there any hints that a regular player can see that they, that you knew Scarlett was involved?
Well, there were hints, but they were the wrong kinds of hints because they were like, "Oh, there's some mysterious person behind all of this," but they never established that mysterious person was Scarlett. You know what I mean? Like a good hint.
They could have said, "Oh, it was an elder dragon," and it's just like, what a cop out. Like, it's just like, no, I want it to be all wrapped up into one. If you're gonna make it climax like that at the end of the Tower Within, you might as well make something that grips all those strings together, and it wasn't like that.
Yeah, like here's using that as an example. Here's my thing, right? They said with Flame and Frost, oh, someone's behind it. Some city dweller is how they described it. Some city dweller got this alliance together, setting people up and hoping that people would think, oh, okay, right. So who's this city dweller? But then they introduced Scarlet. And city dweller doesn't really mean much for Scarlet. If instead of saying city dweller, they had put in a hint that was, like there was a twisted watchwork creation that we found during Flame and Frost. And then months later, we actually had, the Scarlet come forward and then the twisted watchwork stuff. That's a good hint because that shows they absolutely knew that this city dweller was Scarlet.
Yeah.
What they're doing at the moment is they're setting up and it's clear that they haven't written all the story out beforehand. Like they need to be more solid about what's going to happen months and months and months down the line, and then they can, actually put those in. Like they're being very iterative with the story at the moment, but I think they actually need to be less iterative with the story. It's a fine line to walk actually, and there's a lot of discussion you can make there because if they were less, that could have meant more and more updates with Scarlet that we don't want and stuff. So,
right.
But I think you need those solid hints.
Exactly, and it needs to be more story there. I mean, why do we keep watching Breaking Bad episode after episode after episode? It's just
you finished that yet, by the way?
No. I'm halfway
What's
done
wrong
with the
with
last
you?
season. I haven't had time. Too much stuff is going on, man. I'm gonna finish it.
You just need to marathon it.
Yeah, I do. It's just we haven't had any time. Like my wife comes home, she's doing stuff, or she just doesn't come home because I watch it with her, and that's the reason why I have to kind of wait. And of course do my stuff as well. So if we our schedules have to be in sync, and it's not at the moment with Christmas and all this going on. But yeah.
But, I got another point on what we were talking about. We're way off topic again, but whatever, right? So with the Dessa thing, right? You said that you quite enjoy that.
Yes.
We were talking about hints that devs can drop and things that make it seem like they actually have a solid story that's set up. They put the exposition and the hints in early, right? And then, you get the payoff later, right? The Dessa story's been done really well because if you think about it, now they've put these kind of hints and these potential stuff that she herself is a fractal, right? Or she may have died, or like the Thormanova reaction exploded and all this stuff happened, right? And now think back to the original update when we got the fractals, okay? So all this time ago, do you think that they had that whole story set up that she herself was, perhaps dead or long gone or some kind of a memory of the mist or something? Do you think they always knew that?
I don't know.
Or they just wrote it in? Because the other thing you can think is those original fractals. Think about the Harpy fractal, dude. What is the Harpy fractal? A crazy version of Actually, they've confirmed that it is not Ratasum. And it is some other place in the past, which is crazy interesting too. But, some crazy Asuran architecture place floating through space. And when you load into that fractal, what does Dessa do? she becomes markedly distressed, and she says, "Oh, I've got to go. This is not supposed to happen. What is this?" And she gets like really disturbed by it, doesn't she? And there's all this weird stuff going on with cats and stuff. Like, so that is another small piece of the puzzle. And if it turns out that this full story they've got with Dessa actually coherently relates all of these things together in a significant and smart way, then they've done that story properly. But if they have only been adding things in piecemeal, and when they added all that, if they added the Ratassoon thing, I know it's not Ratassoon, but if they added the Harpy Fractal, and they were just like, oh, this is a set piece, and we'll maybe have it make sense later, they're doing it wrong. That never should have been a set piece. It should have been, we've got a cool story, we're going to add a mysterious part of it first. Like, stop with the set pieces, have the full story done, and then, you know, that will make it way more coherent and make people feel more rewarded for wondering about that kind of stuff.
It separates good movies from bad movies, man.
Yeah. What's the point in us wondering about these mysteries if the devs don't even know the answers? We want to feel like the devs know the answers, and that's why we want the hints and the clues and things.
And that's when they were having that live stream and they're asking the devs, you know, all these questions, and the devs were
we'll talk about it later.
They're like, yeah, like they act like they don't know. It's like, what are you talking about, the living story, if you don't know? It's like, what is this? Well, yeah,
exactly,
we should probably move on.
Well, yeah, I mean, so let's tie it back to the question again, this idea of different themes and things. What do you, are there any specific genres? Think TV shows you've watched, anime you've watched, movies you've watched, any themed areas that you would love to see appear in Guild Wars 2? With us branching into new zones? Like Wild West for Crystal Desert is what our topic giver suggested. Is there anything on your mind?
I mean, I'm a fan of sci-fi. Oh, I'm a fan of a lot of things, but sci-fi, I would love to see something like that in a very, you know, Guild Wars 2 way. I mean, they could do it any type of way, but like if they do it right and just create something totally different, because I like my cities and my places to look totally different, so you know exactly where you're at. You know, I should show you an area. I'm like, okay, you know, you could tell the difference between Queensdale and, you know, Sparkfly Flynn. You know, it should be totally different from each other. It should be a totally new experience, especially with an expansion map area. So yeah, I would love to see like totally different architecture, very sci-fi-ish maybe, or old ruins maybe.
Yeah, well, old ruins they kind of done quite a lot, don't you think?
Yeah. I guess. I mean, it depends on how you do it, I guess.
Yeah,
really
because like you you've got Queensdale and you've got and you've got Ascalon.
What about sci-fi old ruins? Boom.
Okay, that could be interesting. Like
Put
you're
that
saying
together.
sci-fi. Have you watched Gravity?
Oh, I haven't watched it yet. I'm waiting for a DVD. Have you watched it?
Yeah, Gravity was a good film. I'm not gonna. I'm
pretty sure.
I am no longer in the habit of saying this was the greatest thing ever. Oh my god, because people always get disappointed because people don't know how to manage their own expectations. It was a good film. I enjoyed Gravity.
No, it was a good film. I'm pretty sure it was a fantastic film. I'm gonna watch it. Expectations high.
Go with the lowest expectations. I went into it thinking it was like this weird little indie thing, and then at the end I was like, oh wait, that was Sandra Bullock? Wow, what? And it was great.
George Clooney, dude.
Yeah, and George Clooney. I was like, Jesus, okay. There was a lot more money in this than I thought that there was.
Well, if Moon was kind of like indie-ish. You ever watch Moon?
I think I heard of Moon, but I never
2009.
watched it.
Look it up. It's pretty good. You're gonna watch it, and if you've watched a movie similar to it, then you're gonna like, oh, it's been done before. But I don't know. I when I first saw it, and I saw it like this year, I didn't see a movie like that before. So
isn't that like some guy alone on the moon or something, and he like goes insane or something, and there's like the computer is talking to him?
Yeah. It's that one.
Yeah, okay. I've heard of it, but
he doesn't go insane, but the computer is real.
Is the computer insane?
No, it's not. Oh, okay. So you're talking about something totally different. No. He doesn't go insane. Something happens. But yeah, people who watch Moon know what I'm talking about.
All right.
It's a big spoiler, so I don't want to say anything. But
anyway, like with Gravity, okay. Two things. First of all, one thing I've always liked about the Guild, wanted more information about on the Guild Wars 2 lore, is their moons. I think they've got 2 moons. I think they've got 1 moon actually.
You're talking about going off the planet?
Yeah,
right now?
like one thing that's I've always been curious about. They've never given us information. The only information we've really got is perhaps the Ascended Rings. One's called Lunaria. It's like, oh, is that its name? Can we at least get its name? You know, you compare this to other great RPGs, like universes, like stuff about the moons. If you look at the Elder Scrolls, like Massa and Secunda, and all of like the legends about the moons and how different races and cultures react to them, and like it's a big part of the world. We don't even know the name of it for Tyria. Like, so I've always been interested in that. That's number one. But number two, when I was watching Gravity, like the aesthetic of Gravity is very, very realistic. It's current day space travel, and like the actual technology we see today that is in use with astronauts and shuttles and spaceships today, like in a film, and you can really see it very, very well. Like, it's really well portrayed. And while I was watching Gravity, I there was some sweet spot in my mind that was like, wouldn't it be cool if we saw, like, basically the movie, I'm not spoiling the movie, but the movie is about like struggling in space, okay, like the dangers that space provides, right? And I while I was watching it, I was just sort of thinking, for a very short moment, I thought to myself, wouldn't Guild Wars like a cool Guild Wars 2 story be like, the Asura was who I defaulted to, because I would expect them to be most interested in like this kind of thing, or most capable of this kind of thing. Wouldn't it be interesting to see like the Asura struggle with trying to conquer this region of the universe? The Asura creating their own shuttles and their own technologies, and like the very real and personal struggles you can have in that environment. And like, combined with my desperate desire to learn more about the moons and stuff, like, that would be a cool update, and that would be a huge departure from traditional fantasy themes that I'd love to see.
I would. That's the first thing that popped in my mind when I said sci-fi was space travel or anything like that. But I always come up with these kooky ideas. I'm like, nah, they will never do that, and they probably never will do that, because I mean, come on, it's space travel. That would be, but that would be amazing. Like, I would totally be down for that. Totally be down for that. I'm not gonna say flying mounts. I'm not gonna say it.
Flying mounts, and you can just fly to the moon. Yeah.
But I would love to see how because you mentioned that the humans are there because they traveled there, or the gods put them there.
This is another big gap. This is another thing. I feel like a lot of the stuff in the dev's own lore, they don't give us the actual answers and mechanics of, because I feel like they don't understand themselves. Travel through the universe interior is done through the mist, which is like this metaphysical, magical expanse that connects everything, rather than the physical universe of planets and stars and moons and things, right? And satellites. Like, and they've never given us the actual distinction between the two and how they relate. Like, if I go to another world through the mists, is that another world in the same physical universe? It's just light years away and wouldn't be feasible to reach? Or am I in a totally different universe now? Like, they just don't tell us, and I think it's because they don't think about it for themselves, and we don't get the stories and the answers that.
So what you're telling me is that pretty much Guild Wars 2 has failed at lore, pretty much. That's pretty much what I've been hearing. It's like, all these gaps. Why are all these crazy gaps? Why?
And it's because they want it to be mysterious, but I think there needs to be a lot more solid ground, and then you add mysteries into it. Like, have an actual defined.
It's been two games already. It's been 2 games. What do you mean?
There's a lot of people jump to their defense as well, and I can understand why, because they say that the most compelling worlds in universes are when opinions you hear about the way things work from, these primitive societies, basically. This is traditional fantasy. These people aren't that intelligent necessarily, they're farmers and so forth by and large. And the opinions you hear from them are marred by the experience of that race. So if I hear that the moon is the embodiment of a god from a human, that could be a biased opinion and untrue. And I think that adds a great deal of realism and intrigue to a universe. But you need a lot more solid ground as well, I think, before you can start doing interesting things like that. And I think there are too many huge gaps in this universe that we don't get solid answers to. And it's on such a large scale that it makes you lose faith that the devs themselves know. And that's the critical thing that dampens enthusiasm from people, I think, on the story.
Yep.
So, like, on the topic of going to the moon or anything like this, do I think it would ever happen? No, because I think if ArenaNet ever wanted us to take us to another planet or something, they would do it through the mists, because the mists are an easy answer. They used to have limitations with the mists, at least. It used to be, okay, this stuff is happening in the mists, and actually there are only a couple of portals in the entire world that are open to the mists, and it took very powerful and intelligent people to create these portals, and eventually they were destroyed by them. Like Lord Odrin made portals and hid them in desperate and dark locations on the planet, went inside them, and eventually was killed by the denizens of the mists who didn't like the living trespassing in their realms.
Okay, so next question.
Okay, whatever. Yeah.
Jesus. We've been on this topic
it's cool.
What 30 minutes.
What were we originally going to do, though? We talked about like Breaking Bad in the middle of it.
All right, next question.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Doug. This next person is going to be so gypped when we spend like 2 seconds on their thing. So gypped. Are you the gypped person? Find out in 3, 2, 1. The Scrappy Dog says, "Why are YouTube and companies?" Oh, this is actually a big topic. Why are YouTube and companies screwing with partnerships, networks, and copyright? YouTube is getting worse and worse. Any thoughts, WP or Matty V Dog?
Matty V Dog, what they do? All right, so YouTube. So this is what they're doing. Okay, so for people who don't understand, this has kind of been said like a billion times.
Yeah, but you haven't said it yet, so.
Yeah. Well, okay. So YouTube. All right. So usually when you're without a network, right? When you're not at the game station or Machinima or any of those places. You're just by yourself, and you are making game content or any content in general. You have to submit your video for review to YouTube, and they'll review it with a little content ID system or whatever to make sure you don't have any copyrighted material on there, and for you to monetize it. And this is how you monetize your videos, is by submitting it for review. So what happens is if you go to a network, you don't have to go through that review. The network handles it for you. Yeah, the network handles it for you. It handles all the legal stuff. It handles paying the companies, the gaming companies and all that type of stuff. And everything is handled through the company. And in return they pay you, and you can instantly monetize your videos.
In return you pay them. They take a cut of your earnings for dealing with that.
I mean, yeah, that goes without saying. Basically, there's certain percentages, 50%, 60%, 70%, 80%, 90% split between networks. You take, for instance, 70, and they take 30% of your earnings, and that is the cut you get. Mm-hmm. So that is the way of things, pretty much. So what happens now is that YouTube told the networks to say, okay, you need to put your guys on affiliates or managed channels, right? And this affects pretty much every small channel and only some big guys. So guys like Total Biscuit will get managed channels, and all the small channels will, get this affiliate program. So the difference between affiliate and manage is affiliate, basically you have to go through this review system with YouTube. Managed channels, nothing changes. They get to instantly monetize their videos. Now, what I mean by review, when you submit it for review, it takes either from hours to days to weeks, I've heard. It depends. It depends on what's going on. And knowing YouTube, sometimes things are just not going to work. All right? So it might work. It might not. We don't know until this change happens in January. Yeah, go ahead.
But what people are up in arms about is we partner with someone so that we don't have to deal with this, and in exchange, they get our money. And now we're partnered with them, they're taking our money, but we have to deal with it anyway. Suddenly, where's the value in being with a network? It would be through other things, like them getting you collabs or them promoting you through their own network and things like that. So suddenly it's far less valuable to be with a partnership, because to be with someone like, TGN or Polaris or whatever, because the primary function of them now is not there. And suddenly tons and tons and tons of people are being hit with these flags, and they're wondering, why am I giving these people some of my money? And for the record, guys, we put up a video, an advert goes on it, okay? And 45% of the money that advert earns automatically goes to Google. Google takes 45% of all of it. Then, of the remaining 55%, we will get, say, 60, 70, 80 or whatever, and then the last goes to our network. So we get a very, very, very small amount of the total money. And the question on many people's minds now is, well, why am I partnered at all if it doesn't do anything for me? And a lot of the time people are on contracts, 2-year contracts. There was a lot of controversy years ago, like where Machinima were signing people on perpetual contracts where like you couldn't back out. Basically, you had to get a new YouTube channel if you wanted to start, getting
some people still have it. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and there was a lot of stuff to do with that, but people are stuck now for like 2 years, perhaps longer, where they have to give money to these partners, to these networks, and really get very little return from that investment.
Now, not only small channels are affected by this. Angry Joe is also an affiliate, I think.
Yes, yeah.
So
big channels.
And the whole content ID matching system is a total different thing as well. Now, what's happening now is the content ID system is not only looking at partners that are, just regular YouTube partners, but now looking at network partners as well. So if you're with a network, right, they're also doing the review of your content as well. So now, and they kind of upped it up in how to actually find this, all this, copyrighted material. So if you even put like a couple seconds, you got to be careful because they will content ID match your content. And what happens is you either get a strike or basically you won't be able to earn revenue from that particular video that has the strike on it at all. Pretty much. And Angry Joe's had 60 videos of his highest videos get flagged, and he's not earning any money from them.
Yeah, like sort of two things happened at once, really. Yeah. Number one was this thing that marked everyone as affiliates, and some people were willing to grit their teeth. I'm with Polaris. Polaris are great. I never take the opportunities, but they give me loads of different options. I get emails constantly about all different kinds of things that I can get better ads on and stuff, and could be earning me more money and blah 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 blah. If there was more variety gaming, it would be more related to me. But like they're really good. So some people didn't mind that first change. But the second half of the issue is that at the same time, YouTube proper ramped up the way that their content ID claiming happens, so that not only is it far more aggressive on its own, but also it is really vulnerable to manipulation and cheating from people. Basically, anyone can fraudulently claim that you have used some of their assets and divert the monetization, the ad revenue for that video completely away from you and take it for themselves. Google doesn't mind because Google still gets 40. Did I say 45% or 55%? I can't remember, but
45.
Google still gets their cut. They still get it, and then the remaining scraps can be completely diverted away from you and put onto these random people who will take all of your money until you can dispute the claim.
And that takes a while.
Yes,
like a month.
That can take, and the channels and organizations like TGN are basically saying to people, or at least I was recommended from Polaris.
TGS, you mean?
Yeah, well, TGN's one as well, right?
Yeah, but they're totally different.
Really okay, well, anyway, Polaris suggests when this change went through and we were marked as affiliates, they said, oh, hey, look, you can just upload it early. Just upload it a few days early. So if you do get put under review and it might get monetized, we can dispute it, and then, you can just have it unlisted and then you can put it listed at the end, and then that's fine. But people sometimes can't work to those schedules, and it's a lot of aggro and a lot of hassle for basically people fraudulently marking stuff. I heard about a guy who made a game, his own game. He is the author of the game. He made it, put a video up of it on the game. It's a really stupid, small thing that he did, and it got flagged and claimed by someone else saying that they owned the assets.
Yeah. And remind people, this is a bot. This is not a real person, right? So most of it is a bot, and then there are some people who are abusing the system. But
people
most
that
of
set
it,
up bots.
Yeah. And this bot will go out and find it, and then, there's nothing you can do. And people would wait until that month, because they have a month to answer you, right? And they'll just suck you dry for that whole month, and then they'll answer it at the last minute.
Yeah. So I mean, it's pretty dire. There are big issues there. There really are very, very big issues.
Something close to home. I don't know if you got any content ID matches, but just like a couple days ago, I got content ID matches on my own music.
Really?
On my own music. Someone's claiming that they own my music.
Wow. Maybe is it the images you used in the background?
No.
Of the video?
Oh no! Because there's only one. I took all those down. I think so. Yeah, I did. Yeah. What are you talking about? Yeah. I don't have any picture versions. I only have one picture version. And that's a forced path, and that's fine. But everything else is done with a royalty-free engine thing that I use on After Effects. But basically, the bars move with the music. Yeah. So there's no pictures in it at all. All that's owned by me. Everything. Music, everything. And I use a program to create it. So it's either the program trying to find its sound effects online or some random company is trying to take from me.
Do you remember we did a daily deal on a game called Constant C?
Yes.
Do you remember? It was a game about gravity.
Yeah.
We were specifically outreached to by the devs of this game to cover it, and that's been flagged from me.
And they're not the ones doing it either.
Yeah, so the people who are taking my money from this thing are called Herb Alpert and the Tijuana Brass Spanish Flea album version. Apparently that song is somewhere in this video. And, one of the biggest problems here is, why is it that they get 100% of the ad revenue because of, potentially 1% of a 20-minute production features something of theirs somewhere? The system that is in place is just broken, and I can appreciate that there are serious reasons why it needs to be in place, legal reasons why it needs to be in place, but the ease that people seem to have of manipulating the system for their own gains, unlawfully potentially, and just a lot of the way that it's implemented needs to be addressed, and this is why people are very upset.
Yeah, I have to agree. I would be upset too. It's not affecting me as bad as some people, but yeah, I wouldn't be happy if that happened.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I can see why it's a big issue, and I'm totally behind people that are rallying to, fight against it. But I'm also kind of pessimistic that, being vocal about it online is really going to do very much, and that Google is a huge corporation, and we may see changes, but it's very likely that we won't. And sort of
what do you think about, because people who are YouTubers, they're just waiting for this whole thing to burn down one day, right? Because YouTube is such a fragile space, right? I mean, someone can breathe on the content system and basically ruin your whole channel, because once you get 3 content strikes, your channel is gone. It's like, it's so easy to destroy the content, and that's why it took so long for people to go on YouTube and oh no, why some big websites, they still use their own video feed, right? You see big guys like GT TV and stuff like that. Because why put their stuff on YouTube when it's just so fragile? It's so easy for things to just get taken down because of the messed up system. There's no way to protect the content creator, which is making YouTube what it is. It made YouTube basically all these content creators,
Absolutely.
And now we're stuck and we're out to dry. What about YouTube having some competition, or maybe one day just moving to entirely other service that actually protects the content creator?
I mean, yeah, it's
but
a big.
I don't think it would happen, but competition in general would be nice, but I think YouTube is just so big.
Vimeo, guys, you will catch exclusive
gosh.
Wooden Potatoes content over on vimeo.com
No one's doing
/Vimeo. It's very arty stuff because they like arty stuff over on Vimeo.
When I hear people say that, I'm like, no, it's just not going to work. It's just no.
I also produce vines of real life stuff. You can see me peeing off bridges in my hometown on vines. Vine doesn't work for me. I don't know why. Whenever I try and watch a Vine, it just doesn't play. It's kind of weird.
Maybe you need to upgrade.
Damn it, guys. Matt just keeps trying to tell me to upgrade my system. I want to wait so that I can feel a big jump, but he's not buying it.
No,
he's not buying it, guys.
I'm not.
Be on my side in the comments.
He needs to upgrade, please.
I don't have the money to upgrade, and what I've got is serviceable.
Okay, that's a different story then. Just say that then. That's fine. That's something totally different than saying, no, I don't want to upgrade because...
No, you can have the money for anything. It's just a matter of how long you save for.
Oh, whatever. Anyways.
I'd rather, spend my money on pizza. Did I tell you that I bought loads of chocolates on Amazon the other day?
I swear, the first time I see you, you're just gonna be huge. You're just gonna
wait until you hear this story. Wait until you hear this story. Right?
No offense to my big homies out there.
Big homies, wow. But so there's this chocolate. Have you ever had Lindor?
Lindor, no.
Okay, so it's this very nice chocolate. Okay, I was buying like all my Christmas presents on Amazon, and I sort of had it all done.
You buy Christmas presents for yourself?
No. Listen.
Do you wrap them up and put them under the tree and say, "Oh, thanks, mommy," and then you just rip it up, and you're in your little jammies in the little.
So I bought all this stuff, right, and the next day I was like, so when I was buying Christmas presents, hopefully no one's watching this that this would affect. While I was buying Christmas presents, I realized like you can buy like grocery style stuff on Amazon, like you can buy wines and like decadent chocolate tasting collections and stuff like that. So I bought some for gifts for people, and the next day I'm like, I'd noticed some chocolates that I quite liked on there, and I thought, okay, why don't I get just some weird flavors of this? Because it's Christmas. People get like goodie tables at Christmas, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, all right, I'll get a bunch of these, and we can all try these out, and just put them on the goodie table, next to the Twiglets and the nuts and the After Eights and stuff like that. So I tried to buy some. I was going to buy 4 boxes. Okay, each box was a different flavor, but I accidentally bought 4 of every flavor.
Oh.
So I'm drowning in chocolates at the moment.
You didn't see the price?
Well, the thing is, they're kind of like expensive-ish, so I was like, maybe they're just sort of a bit overpriced. Maybe the shipping is bumping it up or whatever. So it cost me like 20 quid. It was pretty cheap all in all for the amount of stuff I got.
Okay, 20, okay, yeah.
Yeah, so that's like $30, $35.
Oh.
Like, yeah, so, but like, and so I've got
3DS
tons.
game right there.
I've got tons, and a 3DS game or tons and tons of chocolate. I don't know why I moved on to this story, but so yeah.
You lost the point of the story. Buying Christmas presents for yourself.
Yeah, so I've wrapped them all up. The boxes are actually empty now. I've eaten it all, but I'm wrapping them up just for that thrill of having something under the tree. And then I'll come back to the cold glow of my LCD and sit here in silence on Christmas Day.
And I don't know if it was recorded, but you have like a little tree, right? Like a little tree that you buy.
I was being sarcastic. When I was younger, I did do that. When I was younger. I had a tree in my room. But only because we like found it, like, you know how schools like decorate? We were hanging about. Oh God! When I say stories about when I was a teenager, I sound like such a thug. But no, we were hanging out at like this school, and they'd thrown out their Christmas tree, so I took it home with me, and I had it in my room. And I had like thistles or whatever, pine thistles, like from like years even in that room. It was ridiculous. So yeah, there you go.
There you go. See, he wasn't gypped.
Yeah,
he even got a Christmas story, dude.
Yeah.
There
Next person to be gypped is from Nycro, who says, "What do you think about a Norn and a human in a relationship?"
A Norn and a human. Hold up. It's not in lore. Like, this has never happened. You can't tell me this has never happened. You cannot tell me this has never happened. There's no way. Can you imagine? You're just a regular, normal human guy, walking around, and you just see this huge woman Norn with, junk in all the right places. You tell me you're not gonna go after that?
You're a human that likes BBW, and it's kind of a small.
Oh my gosh! Let's not. All right.
You picked the question.
No, it was just there, and I was just gathering a bunch, and then we pick out of the pile, eeny, meeny, miny, mo.
Well, to be totally cereal about it.
Cereal?
Yeah.
I want some cereal right now.
What kind of cereal do you want?
This is Trader Joe's cereal that tastes exactly like pecan pie. It's healthy as well.
I don't have any pecan pie cereal, but I do have chocolates if you want some.
It's like maple. It's called maple syrup pecan. If you're into healthy cereals and you want something even better than Frosted Flakes and Cheerios and all that garbage, well, no, they're good, but they're not garbage. But yeah, get that. Like Trader Joe's, get that. So delicious. Pecan pie in your mouth. Yep, go ahead.
Okay. To be serious about it for just like a second, like there are like the Kodan believe that the Norn are simply like fallen versions of themselves, because Kodan are bears, the Norn can turn into bears. Do you know what I mean? And then there's like suggestions that the humans are even somehow perhaps related to the Norn as well on some level. The thing with the Norn is we have like very little deep history of the Norn. Like we
more
have
lore missing. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, like there's certain races. I really like the humans. I really like the Char. And to an extent, I like the Asura, because all three of these races have got a lot of lore and culture and civilization outside of the Guild Wars 2 maps right now. Like the Black Citadel, okay, that you see in Guild Wars 2, that's just one citadel. That's the Citadel of the Iron Legion. Did you know? And then you got the Flame Citadel, which is a dungeon. But did you know there's a Blood Citadel?
No.
For the Blood Legion, that's way off to the north. There's a Blood Citadel. There's an Ash Citadel that exists off of the map on, the mountains to the right of Ascalon. Beyond there is like the homeland of the Ash Legion. We're only in the homeland of the Iron Legion, and that's why so much of what you see is big mechanized, creations. Like, there's all this other stuff to the Char. And the humans, they have civilizations in Alona and Cantha. They've got more breadth to them. They have history to them. The same with the Asura to an extent because of their underground origins. And, there's very little deep history for them too. But we sort of know at least why. The Norn? What is the history of the Norn? There was no history for them in Guild Wars 1. And in Guild Wars 2, most of the history we got was bridging the gap. So the Norn, it just sort of sucked for that regard. But whatever, so there could be, people have suggested that because the Norn look so much like humans, maybe there is some connection there. Somehow one was born unto the other or whatever. But specificities you can't really point at the moment. I don't know, people would probably scoff, right, Interior at the moment, if a Norn and a human were getting together. But maybe that's the Norn's legend. I conquered a woman, a human.
Wow.
And then that's his story and the Skald sing of his tales of wooing someone because he's so big and stupid and he's not much of a romantic, but he got the girl anyway. Question 5 or question 4. This is only the 4th one. We're an hour in.
Yeah. For real? Yeah.
For real.
For real.
For realsies.
Right.
Bones 97698 says WP and MV. If the major arc of the story for next year does in fact go the direction of Primordus, where do you think we'd see new maps? What groups of bad guys do you expect we'd see working with the destroyers? Do you think we'd get a new epic underground dungeon similar to Ura? I'm going to let you spitball on that for a bit.
Oh, no. Let's not.
This is not a lore question. This
is a lore question.
How is this a lore question?
It is.
There's a dragon underground. Where could we go?
He said Primordus and connections to the destroyers. That's Guild Wars 1 stuff.
No, it's not. The Elder Dragons in Guild Wars 2. You know Primordus is underground.
Yeah, sure. That's it. That's it.
So we okay, all right. We talked about how the Tengu are having problems with the destroyers. If the story goes in this direction, then I would absolutely expect to eventually get into the Dominion of Wind, which is that region surrounded by a huge Tengu wall. We'd get to see the Tengu city probably, and maybe a new starter zone somewhere. So that would be a lot of big stuff we'd get. You say an epic new dungeon similar to Ura. No, screw that. I don't want an epic new dungeon. If we do this, I want real, new, fully persistent maps that exist in enormous underground caverns deep below Tyria. And I want several of them. I want 5 of them. And I want to be like, oh, right, I'm underneath the Great Dam in Queensdale at the moment. I'm underneath that, except I'm in this giant cavern. And look, I can see the foundations of the dam above me. And I want to have that feeling of being underneath the Vigil Keep or the Dermond Prior or anything like this. This would be really cool stuff to see, deep under the mountains, and to have that relation between where we are currently.
You're talking about maps and maps and maps just underground.
Yeah, I think you can do variety there. Absolutely.
Whoa, that is a ton. To just be underground, you will never see the light ever.
You could see gaps of sunshine that shines down. And is that necessarily a bad thing, not to see the light? Artificial lights, different coloured lights from ruined Asuran civilizations, lava falls that light areas up. strange fauna and fungi that light things up in interesting ways. They can play with lighting in cool ways. Just because it's underground doesn't mean that light is something they can't play with. It means it could be something they play with even more than they ever have above ground. That would be cool, and they can do good variety there, and they can wow people. People are like, oh, what? It's just a bunch of cave maps, and then they go there, and it's like, boom, wow, they've been super creative. Look at this distinct art style. Look at all these crazy, colourful things that they've managed to do in these caverns. Guild Wars 2. I'd love that. That is what I'd love.
That would be cool. Like, it created like such a good city that people just go there instead of Lion's Arch, and that would be like the new place to hang out. Like, if they created like such a pull to play the content down there that people just kind of stay down there because that's mostly what people do once they get to level 80. That'd be pretty cool. And like Lion's Arch will become something for lower levels that, they just go there because they're just going through to get their stuff to go to like, the other maps and stuff like that. And then something else becomes the main city. That'd be quite interesting, actually.
Yeah, absolutely. It would be a big change. People want change when they've left Guild Wars 2, they want to look back and be like, wow, that stuff's really different. Is it just me leveling characters and hanging around Lion's Arch all the time still? Or am I somewhere totally different now? That's what I think would be very compelling to people to return to the game. Okay, next question. Are you ready for this? This is a big one. We have to think.
Okay, I'm ready.
Right, get your pen and paper ready. Ladies and gentlemen, you may wish to do this as well. Welcome to... Wait, I was going to say, who wants to be the weakest link? Dun, 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 dun.
That's the jingle?
I thought it was. And that's not the name. It's not even the name of the show. That's a combination of two shows. Anyway,
Great.
Timothy Torfeek says top 10 things that happened in 2013 Guild Wars 2 related.
Oh. He dropped a big one. You weren't kidding. I thought you were joking. I thought it was gonna be like some short question.
No. We could do a short one. We could also go with...
Okay, so between you and
me... Who's the man in your relationship?
Obviously... See, I thought it was me. I thought I was the man in me and WP's relationship, but obviously not, because he left me hanging all day yesterday when we should have been recording VisualWood. I was like...
me, dude.
I was like, baby, why did you do that? And he was like, baby, I know it.
Wow. Shut up, baby, I know it.
Okay, yeah. So, top 10 things. Top 10 things. You gonna lay down one? You gonna lay down one? Guild Wars 2 related, right? So it could be anything Guild Wars 2 related. Top 10. All right, so what's gonna be our number one? And the silence. The silence. Hello? Hello?
Hello? I don't know. Okay, look. So let's brainstorm here. We've got updates that came out.
I can see it in your eyes.
What was your favorite update?
Oh, okay. My favorite update would have to be Super Adventure Box.
Super Adventure Box. First or second?
Ooh, I love them both, because the beginning, of first jumping into that world and finding something totally different and having all 8-bitty and it was great. And then the second one with Tribulation Mode, adding so much more to it than just the bare bones that they gave us. I love them both. I guess I will go with the second one, because the second one I get to play both the first one and the second one.
Yeah, right? It's like 2 at once.
Yeah, so there you go. So I guess that's one for me. So what's your favorite?
I think related to that as well, that was a really cool advert that they did. Guild Wars 2 related.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Like they did that weird taxi cab thing recently that sort of, I don't know, it didn't really hit a mark for me, but like that Super Adventure Box thing was really, really awesome. So we'll go with Super Adventure Box 2 update, and we'll go with the advert that came out. Super advert, I'm just going to type it as. For me, my favourite update was probably the Zephyrite Sanctum. And the Sanctum Sprint in particular. I had so much fun in Sanctum Sprint. I was playing Winter's Day the other day, and you know how you escort the Doliacs and it ends right next to the gates and the NPC that takes you into the daily activity?
Yeah.
Yeah, like I was throwing snowballs at the script boss at the end and accidentally pressed F on that NPC, and it came up with today's event is Sanctum Sprint, and I was like super tempted to just be like, screw Winter's Day, I'm gonna go do some Sanctum Sprint.
Yeah, Sanctum Sprint is pretty cool. I don't know, with those mini games, I feel like you kind of burn out of them. I guess that's what they're there for. That's why they keep rotating them.
Yeah, I think that was really smart the way that they've done that system, and I think the achievements that they've done with that system are really smart too. Really, really, really smart. Okay, like, what's your favorite like feature that changed with the game? I'm pretty sure I know what mine is. Like, you know, UI thing perhaps, or you know, big thing that was really quite substantial for this year.
You go ahead first.
All right, well, for me, my absolute favorite that I think really brought a lot of life to the game for me, it was the achievement update. The way that now there is actual incentive for getting a lot of achievements, both through the leaderboards, through getting exclusive and genuinely cool titles. Like, there are people out there closing in on the 20,000 achievement point title that no one has got, and they really are a bit of a special snowflake once they've had that for a long time. Like, that's cool. That's an actual cool title, and there's real rewards there as well. But the gems are worth a lot of money at the moment. It feels pretty awesome getting to 5k, 10k, 15k. Like, I'm really looking forward to, and that always motivates me to keep playing. I think that was a really solid update that they did to the game. So achievement update, absolutely.
I'm gonna say pretty much all the account bound stuff. So all right. So I'm gonna wrap all of them in one, meaning the wallet.
Wallet was awesome, yeah.
The wallet was awesome. The account bound World. I think that they're gonna come out with.
Yeah, World versus World. They come in, yeah.
The account bound,
mining
tools.
Stuff?
Yeah, the account bound, all the account bound stuff that they did.
The account bound legendaries that they did last update.
Yeah, right. Like, I wish, absolutely wish that would happen. But all the account bound stuff, I definitely think that is one of the best features because that really helped the game a lot. Maybe in a small way for some, but in a big way for a lot of people who have a bunch of karma and all that. Just to have to see all of that in one space and have it throughout the whole character's account bound, magic find, so you don't have to have it on your gear now. You don't have to worry about people actually getting like exotic magic find gear and going in a dungeon with you because they want to get better loot. Small chance to get better loot. It completely ruins the game. So that, I think, that was a really good update. All those changes for account bound.
What about the big update to the fractals? Would that make your top of 2013 list? Or do you not really care about the fractal changes that much?
I think they were really good. I wouldn't say it's like top. Like, I didn't go back and just play hours and hours and hours every day of it. Okay. I just played it like a regular living story update.
Well, absolutely for me as well, and this out of everything I've mentioned so far, this is highest on the list, possibly the best thing of 2010. 2010, what the hell, guys? 3 years of my life has passed, and I don't even realize it. It's still 2010 for me, dude. I sort of wish it would be 29 still, actually. Okay, listen, the Tequatl update. That's probably my number one. The more I think about it, Tequatl was amazing. Really, there were issues with it, overflow system issues. There were lots of minor things. The fact that I feel people don't play it enough lately, but I have the most fun I probably have had in Guild Wars 2 to date, or some of the most fun, I don't know, has been in a huge TeamSpeak with hundreds of people coordinating in an overflow, trying to take out this genuinely difficult boss, explaining mechanics to people, and I'm not gonna lie, like, taking the lead like that, actually having people listen to you and really work together, and everybody has this strong desire to try out some new content, have a real challenge in the game, something that makes people dive into mechanics, something that made me go into PvP and look at every single class and work out a spec and create a guide so that people can just jump in and run that stuff. Like, that was phenomenal. It was so cinematic. The just feeling of a theatre of war that came from it. The Tequatl update was huge for me, dude. Like, I love that so much, and I want so much more of it in Guild Wars 2. So much more of it. Was that not really so big for you?
It was big. I thought it was great, but for some reason, I thought it was great, but I didn't go back to it a lot after the whole rush of everything. I don't still play it.
That's true for me too. Yeah, I don't still play it either.
I don't still play it. I think the things that I still play after it's been updated, those are the things that are really important for me.
And what are you
even
still
though
playing?
even though it's really, it's really good, I just don't think of it every time I log in.
Mm-hmm.
So hold up, are we counting this like? How are we counting this? Like one for me, one for you, or 1, 2, 3?
Or just whatever we can come up with. We've got 7 at the moment. We only need 3 more, and let's not rank it. We'll just find 10 things that really enthused us for this year.
Okay.
Were there like any skins or anything that you were just like, oh my god, this is awesome?
Skins. I think they did a fantastic job in Volcanus and all those skins that they released during that time. And
wait, what? Do you mean fused skins? Volcanus was there since launch.
Volcanus was there since launch? Seriously?
Yeah, the Mystic Forge. That was just a Mystic Forge weapon. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Why did I know that? Why didn't know that? That's weird. Maybe I did, and I'm thinking about something else.
Maybe. I mean, you've got the fused weapons. Look pretty cool from Flame and Frost.
Maybe I think I might be mixing it up with something else. But yeah, skins that they brought out that I absolutely had to get, there's none. That like they were good. It's just that it wasn't like it didn't crave like I had to get this. I have to get this for my character, because most of them wasn't armor and weapons I already had. And I go through weapons all the time, and to delete a skin off of my weapon that I already have a sigil and already my stats on, it's kind of hard for me to do.
Mm-hmm.
So that is the main problem why I never really tried out the skins, because of that. And that is a totally different issue entirely. Transmutation sucks. It sucks.
So on the top of your 2014 list will be when they remove transmutation, right?
Oh, absolutely. Or the wardrobe system. We
haven't talked about this. Do you think that when they combine PvE and PvP, that's a sign that the wardrobe could be coming?
Yeah, I think so. And I think that is probably going to be like at the top of my list.
Well, it won't be 2013, sadly.
Yeah, it won't be 2013. But I mean, we're talking about in 2013, and technically it is Guild Wars 2 related, right? So you could put that there.
We'll squeeze that in. I've got another big one from myself, but we'll go locker. We can't use locker. We don't even know if that's happening. And if it is
happening.
Year.
It is happening. I was talking to the lead PvP guy, and I was like, "Yo, where my skins at, son?" And he was like, "It's coming, dog."
He just knew.
It's coming, dog. I'm not gonna say any names because I don't want to try to get people in trouble. But I don't think. Well, he says it's coming. I mean, obviously everyone knows it's coming.
I have 2 really big ones that I think have been essential. There's still a long way to go for both of them, but I think they've been essential. And the only reasons I've participated... All right, so World vs. World leveling up is huge. That and the seasons for World vs. World.
Yes, fantastic.
Those single-handedly are the only reasons I've World vs. World since I dipped my feet in it at launch. Why would I World vs. World without some semblance of progression through my character and leveling up and getting cooler titles? And why would I World vs. World if the competition doesn't mean anything? The seasons and the leveling up addressed both of that and added immense amounts of fun to me for that format of the game. The only reason I World vs. Worlded, and I think there's a lot more that could be done to improve the experience of World vs. World, but those alone are the only reason I've done that format of the game, and for that reason they are huge, and I think definitely deserve a spot on my top 10. Like, definitely. That's massive, really, if you think about it. World vs. World now compared to this time last year, I mean, back then it was only really driven from people's, vague enthusiasm because it was sort of new, right?
Yeah.
And then the other one as well is sort of similar as well. Something I think that has helped the structured PvP community quite a lot that people were crying for. This time last year, PvP has felt so neglected. A random new map is not what they wanted. They wanted spectator mode and a few other quality of life things. As I said, I still think it's a long way away, but that was huge as well. One of the most important features that they've added. I think it was a shame that PvP was considered by the devs at launch to still be in beta and potentially still in beta. I think that's a real shame. But, spectator mode was huge. That would also be on my top 10 list.
Absolutely.
Have you got anything else?
Yes. You pretty much said the ones I was gonna say. Those were really good updates. The moment I got my legendary and making the legendary guide.
Oh yeah, we're just stuck on updates.
Yeah. That was a great moment. That was a great moment. I was extremely happy to actually forge my weapon. And now that I have so much gold now, it's just like, man, why didn't I have this months ago? But it's just like you just get gold by just playing the game, you know. But that moment was cool, and I guess I don't know. What do you think about creating a YouTube channel and getting a following? Us getting a following. That's funny. You know, it's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy that happened. And Guild Wars 2 is the reason why that happened.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sure.
Yeah. Why not?
We've actually got We've got 12 things on the list at the moment. So.
And I thought we weren't going to reach 10. So there you go.
There you go. All right, I'll read it for you guys. I put super advert. I thought that the advert that they did for the Super Adventure Box was hilarious and awesome. The actual update for Super Adventure Box 2 and the inclusion of it originally as well. We talked about the Zephyrite Sanctum. That was a big favourite for me. That's probably my favourite Living Story update that they did so far. Notwithstanding the fact that they just dropped all the interesting stories they hinted at, but still. Sanctum Sprint, I have crazy fun in. Like I don't know what it is about it. I just love it, and just the activity system that they've got now in general. The achievement update that they put in the game, the actual a reason to go for achievement points, the leaderboards, the cool titles you can get, the decent rewards, the unique skins, that stuff was all awesome. You said, Matt, the proliferation of account-bound features and currencies, the inclusion of the wallet, the World versus World experience is eventually going to become account-bound, all the mining stuff, that stuff you felt was really strong. The Torquato update, everything that I said about it earlier, I think was massive for me. The idea of a PvP wardrobe that may be coming and next year, but hey.
Halloween clock tower.
Oh yeah. That was last year though. That's the thing.
No, it was this year too. Just happened.
Yeah, but it wasn't cool this year because it was old.
Specifics.
Dude, don't you say that to me. At the update, what did we say on VisualWood? I said to you before the update, that's all that's there. You're gonna get bored. And then we played it, and what did you say on the VisualWood afterwards? It's the same, and I got bored. We can't add that. Come on.
Yeah, you're right.
Wardrobe, World vs. World, and the season spectator mode that was added when you made your legendary, and getting a real following and audience. There you go. Top 10.
What, you're telling me you don't like that you have an audience? Are you trying to say that you?
I do, but
that you have an audience?
I do, but I'm sticking to the rules. 2013, like the game released last year, and that's when all this kind of kicked off.
Oh yeah, you're right. I didn't even think about that when I mentioned that. Oh, all right, so scratch that. Screw you guys.
It's fine. Oh, we've only got 11. There we go. That was good. Timothy Torfik, thank you for the
Yes.
the exercise. I felt like I was in school, and the teacher had been like, you two work together, and we were like at a table in the back corner of the room, and we spent most of the time pissing about, but then we did that at the last second.
You're making footballs out of paper.
What? Footballs out of paper? We never do that.
You never did that in school? Make footballs out of paper and flick it between two fingers?
Oh, right. No, yeah, I know what you mean. Yes,
yeah. And then you write to Susie in the front of the class, bottom row to the left, and say, oh, do you like me or not? Yes or no? And she's gonna check no. She's gonna check no. So
did you ever do that? Like legit ever do that?
No. I did get one from a girl though, and I kind of didn't like her, but I was interested in the relationship though.
Yeah.
You know, I wasn't really thinking about girls back then. I'm talking about when I was young, like elementary school. So, yeah.
I remembered I was in drama class once, and there was this girl that I didn't know. She was new to the school. I had never spoken a word to her in my life. I didn't know her at all. And like, she sent me a note like, "Oh, hey, do you want to go out?" And I was just like, I don't even know you. Like, and she like completely broke down. Like, I wasn't that cold. Some people that know me quite well will have expected me to have been very cold to her. I wasn't that cold to her, but she was devastated, dude, and I felt horrible because I was like, holy crap, like that's
cold-blooded.
Man, that still plays on my mind. I still don't know who the hell that person was, but yeah, man.
Wow, you don't even know her name? Nothing?
That should have been... No, I don't remember her name or anything, no.
Cold-blooded.
It should have been like an ego boost, but in the end, all she did was make me feel bad. What a bovine.
Wow, what a selfish thing to say. Tis, tis, tis.
All right.
Oh, the nervous laugh.
The next question is from, moving swiftly on, the next question is from Renegade 262626. Who says,
Okay.
VisualWood topic, further discussion of the Living Story Season 1 as a whole rather than the piece by piece we get and where it succeeded and failed. So I guess the idea is we usually open up a VisualWood with talking about, you know, an update, right, that's just gone up, or the preview, and we just talk about that and then move on. What do you think as a whole?
As a whole, oh gosh, I think most of it, are we talking about, we're talking about content, we're talking about story, we're talking about features, we're talking about everything they added into the game as a patch, as a living story, or the living story as itself. What are we talking about here?
Go with the second one.
Oh, so living story. So story. As story, I'm gonna say it's it's mostly not there for me. I'm not gonna say it's bad. I'm gonna say it's just non-existent. Like, it's just an afterthought. It looks like it feels like, okay, there's writers working on this stuff, but I feel like it's not the main like drive of the content every time it's coming out, because I don't know, like for a regular player who's just playing the content, the story is just not like in your face. You kind of have to read for it, and you kind of have to watch Win and Potatoes videos. If you have to watch a video about the Living Story update
/Win and Potatoes.
If you have to listen to a video about the Living Story to get the Living Story, that's bad. That's bad. You shouldn't have to, you shouldn't have to look for other stuff just to understand what's going on in the story. Because really, it's started to get better and better and better. At least people know the name Scarlet, like, oh, Scarlet, yeah, that chick, I bet people even who don't even play PvE or any of the Living Story and just play PvP and World v World know Scarlet now, and know that there's going to be some 4 story arc stuff, because some people don't even go into PvE. So I say it's gotten better. It started off slow, and I feel like it's still not there yet, but it has gotten better in its last few months, should I say.
Yeah. I think this year has marked a gradual progression from really bare bones stuff to better content. If you look at the gameplay itself that they implement with the patches, the gameplay is often very strong, and they often do a lot to cover their bases to not, upset people. I don't know whether it's just MMO players or just gamers in general, or the internet actually being paid attention to as a device for feedback. But people are picky. People are really picky. People hate, the tiniest little things, and they will hold it against you. And so ArenaNet are actually been very good with these patches, I think, covering all their bases and getting on point with rewards. The story and the gameplay itself is often quite engaging and fun, I do find, and they add a variety of stuff that appeals to different people's tastes. The story itself, though, doesn't compel me. It doesn't at the moment. Like, there's interesting places it could go, and I've always looked at the interesting places it could go, but it rarely does, and it rarely has the quantity that it needs for if people want to view this like a TV show and desperately want to watch it, like, there needs to be a lot more going on. One of the most positive changes that I heard about, though, last week was the fact that writers are now direct. Did you know this? Did I talk to you about this? About how the writers... They posted on the forums that for the most recent patch, which I do feel showed an improvement to the quality of the storytelling, that the programmers or designers, I guess one or the other, taught the writers specifically how to write the characters into the client. So before, like, the writers would come up with a potentially interesting story and, be professionals and, use their education and whatever to make a cool story. But then that would get passed through this weird chain before it eventually ended up in the client. And the person that actually typed it in wasn't the writer themselves. And they can't, draw off of the environment that the characters are in or whatever. Now the writers directly write the characters into the game client. And that's enabled them to have a lot more freedom and space to do cool stuff with the text. And I think that's a really positive change, and hopefully stuff like that will continue to see improve the quality of the storytelling in the living story. I think the main problem, though, is they have to be very sure of the story that they want to tell. And I want to see real hints that lead to real things. I want to see that they know what their universe is, and they know where they want to go super long term. Yeah. And I want to see that they've written out a story that they are compelled by, and they want to bring that to us. And I don't see that right now. This whole year I've been seeing, oh, we're going to do this update so that we can be here, and then we're going to find a reason to go here, and then a reason to go here, and then a reason to go here. It's all excuses to go to different places, when instead it should all have been the story first. And we'll see how it goes further forward. But it's been a year of improvement and progression, and I think it's a shame that it's gone this way because it's soured people to it. And a worry of mine is that people won't give it the time, they won't go back to it, which is why I'm happy that they're doing a bit of a break here. If they start incorporating these breaks and then doing proper arcs, then that could be very good, because people are like, oh, I didn't like season 1, maybe I like season 2, maybe I like season 3, maybe I like season 4, and yeah, that could be better for them. But yeah.
All right. So that is anything else we should mention before we end it?
Not really. I don't think. I keep making that noise. I'm sorry about farting into the mic.
Yeah, you definitely like doing that. Is that you're regressing back to a kid? Are you gonna be in diapers by the time I see you?
I don't want to go to bed.
Yeah, well, you're awake right now, and it's it's not even that late. Was it 8 o'clock your time right now? 9 o'clock?
8 on the 20th of December. Christmas is in 7 days. Wait, 5 days. Wow.
That's it.
Okay. All right.
You just gave the time when we recorded this, dude. What's going on?
Yeah, so people can look back and be like, oh, at that time I was doing whatever. I don't know. I was going to say something inappropriate, but
yeah, good thing you didn't. Well, let's make another VisualWood like last time.
Let's be classy this week.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Do you want to give him a classy outro?
Oh yeah.
No, that's a porn outro. No,
this is not a porn outro. This is just my regular voice. Oh guys, thank you for watching the video. I love you. Merry Christmas. Right? Merry Christmas?
Oh my god, yeah, this is Merry Christmas to everyone, isn't it? They won't see us until after Christmas.
Yeah, that's right. Merry Christmas, everyone!
And
I hope you get all
stay visual!
Oh yeah, the last question bell.
That was a Christmas bell.
That
Christmas
was.
bell. Wait, look, has no pets.
One, two, three, record! Oh, yeah. Visual mode on.
It still really worries me that is just a porn voice you do.
It's
it comes up frequently, and you never have an answer for me about where it comes from.
It comes from very deep inside.
That's what she said.
Yes. Congratulations.
You were supposed to burst out in uproarious laughter there, otherwise it just sounds
Congratulations.
sad. It's just this old sad joke that I keep dragging up from the depths of.
The depths of stupidity, deep in there, just at the bottom of the barrel, the bottom of the barrel with the pennies and the piece of lint and hair.
Yeah. And then your response is just the metaphorical moths flying out of the pocket, and then that's it.